This is an EMI Rhythm-2 from Soviet Russia with love. It's got some cool features that sound a lot like a Moog Rogue, because this is basically a copy of the Moog Rogue. It's got a pulse wave, which you can modulate to the LFO, or pick your own pulse. You can choose between a triangle and a saw, or sorry, a triangle and a, triangle and a saw. Saw. Triangle, and it's got a really nice, smooth white noise sound. And it's got a really interesting feature with the envelope for the amplitude. You can kind of repeat it. I think this says articulation. And if you set the release kind of short, then you can do something like this. Isn't that weird? And then if you turn this guy up, since it takes longer to repeat, it makes that sound. And same here, if you change the attack, so you could do something like an ocean if you wanted. Anyway, pretty cool, huh? So the reason why this thing has a towel in it is because that's the way the Russians designed it. Ha, psych. It's actually because I was fixing it. And I got to a point where it's totally playable, and I just was fascinated by the internals, which brings me to the internals. Let me show this thing off. Everything here is all original except for this wire, which is there for MIDI capability. So if you notice, there's a lot of Cyrillic written on these guys. Let me help it focus and stuff. Because all of the parts on the synthesizer was made in Russia. During the Soviet era, the Iron Curtain pretty much kept everything in and everything out, which means their electronics were pretty much all handmade and used Russian parts. Sorry, my grammar is falling apart. It's kind of late. This power supply, I actually unscrewed it and turned it around because I thought it was a little silly how the audio jack was sitting right next to a 240 volt transformer. Like, originally it came with a DIN 5 jack. Weird, right? DIN 5 audio, but it's totally a thing. Look it up. It's on Wikipedia and stuff. And here's a relic. This is, it means telephone, but translated it means headphones. This is the headphone connector, which is totally a DIN 5 jack. Is that weird or what? That's not MIDI. Yeah, so I wanted to kind of modernize it, so I gave this guy a 1/4 inch jack and replaced the DIN 5 port. It actually came with a different 1/4 inch jack, but it was kind of messed up, so I put this one in there. It's got aftermarket MIDI on there. Of course, this thing did not have MIDI, but more importantly, it doesn't have CV or gate either, so it's only controlled by the keyboard factory, which nowadays, if you want to use a sequencer or something, that makes it really challenging. Or I should just say impossible, right? Unless you want to have robots pushing these guys. So this MIDI implementation is appropriate, although it does modify it. It's got these guys here, and it's got this guy here for that. I mean, if I did it personally, I'd probably put a MIDI connector here, but it's kind of fun looking, I guess. I like the authenticity of having something original, but it's okay. So yeah. Also, if you do end up with one of these things because you think this video is so cool, then you can tune it if it's out of tune by these 4 pots. 1, 2, 3, 4. And yes, this pot is kind of, 1 beer short of a 6-pack. A lot of them are like that. Isn't that weird? Check it out. This guy too. That's original. You know what? It's Soviet. They got it at an angle and they're like, oh, it's Soviet. Nah. If you're still paying attention to me, these scents are actually kind of rare. This one with the peach-colored case and the white face is probably the rarest of these. You'll find the black-faced ones with, I think, a black box. I think. They're usually less expensive or whatnot, but they're really cool scents. If you did have a Moog Rogue, which is what this thing is supposed to be copying, then I would still get one of these simply because it has so much character in the sound and in how it plays. Oh, you know, has a bonus feature while I had this thing open. There's kind of a trunk. I took that part off on the bottom, and you can see the J wires for the keyboards. For some reason, this keyboard happens to use 2 J wires per key. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but let me show you the mechanics of it. See that? Yeah. Basically, when you press a key, the wires touch the bus bar, and this interesting series of what I think are resistors. There could be diodes in that package on a keyboard matrix. I think those are resistors. It helps you figure out what key to play. So everything is very disgustingly analog. Yeah. Well, that's about it. I hope you like this video. You'll definitely be hearing this in my new project called Maxwell and the Transistors, where it will be joining its other Russian friends. And, oh yeah, this is another synth I'll probably make a video of. It's guts of an Altair 231, but that's for another time. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys around.